Hello everyone, Instructor Ford here. This is Mr. Weaver, and we're going to discuss pad drills at First Stripe Yellow Belt. So not all American Kick Punch Karate schools have got a First Stripe on their Yellow Belt or any stripe system below black, and we do, mostly because of the way the original handbook is divided up. It makes things easier for the amount of forms that you have. So whenever I do pad drills at this level, which would be white to now, I'm mostly focused on my training partner hitting targets effectively. So when I hold this up here, this is my head. I hold it right here, it's my rib. I hold it here, it's my rib. I can hold that here. I put one on the back of my hand, one on the front of my hand. So if I'm working with them on him hitting the ribs like a hook punch, I put my target here and it gives him a target. So I might be like, all right, hook punch. So, or round kick to the femoral artery. And we kind of build from that. Or hook punch or ridge hand to the head. Go ahead and do a ridge hand. So we'll build from that. Now, and you kind of spar with that as well. So we'll be sparring, and as soon as I present a target, he hits the target. As soon as I present a target, as soon as I present a target, as soon as I present a target, as soon as I present a target. So it gives him an opportunity to find his target zones, whether it be the femoral artery, whether it be the stomach, the ribs, the head. And then after he gets used to hitting target zones, my next job is going to be combinations. So it might be, let's see, back fist, so back fist, side kick. So back fist, side kick, and then I'd start moving around. Don't mind that target. Then I would move around. So pad drills are important. Later on, you get into more advanced pad drills where it's more the boxing of 1, 2, 3s. But right now, just worry about finding those target areas and hitting the target areas. Worry about getting into the target areas. You might want to throw some stuff. Let me turn that back around. You might want to throw some stuff in, like, all right, back fist, hook. Okay, well, yeah. Let's do back fist, hook punch, and then close the target off if they're not fast enough. So, and then give them some feedback. So, if they're not quick enough on that, say I'm giving commands, back fist, and say he's not fast enough on this hook punch, and I'm holding the hook punch out, I just take the hook punch away. And shooting in and out of his range, which I'm not going to go very far with a wall behind me, but that's all right. The important thing at this stage is target acquisition and time on target. So if you just throw him into the ring without any target training whatsoever, he's going to have to learn a lot of these lessons the hard way. I'd rather him learn. You've learned these lessons the hard way before. I would rather them learn target acquisition and then get in a ring, because it makes it so much easier. It just registers in the brain fires on it.
It's the hand
So, like later on, when you turn this thing back around and we're sparring, and I'm going to kick that shield out of the way because it's tripping me up. And so we're here. So once I start showing him targets, jab, and he misses, and I pop him on the side of the head. Oh, what's he need to work on? He needs to work on defense. So when we start doing that drill again and I start flashing targets, and he gets hit again, well, he's got a giant open spot. So what's that tell him? That tells him maybe I might want to cover that thing up. So we start the drill again. And that's that easy.
No black eye.
When they start sparring, it makes that reaction a lot better in the ring. It's going to help them immensely. So one more time. You're overshooting. So one of the other tools you're going to want to utilize in your training is a shield. I actually like a shield better than I like a heavy bag. Why is a shield better than a heavy bag?
You can move with it better.
Yeah, because your target's moving, they're not stationary. So when he's punching this, and I start moving, where I move into him, where I move away from him, he's going to have to worry about range.
Great space.
It also gives him a spot where if he wants to punch away like he's doing on a heavy bag, he can punch away, and he's getting that reaction from my body. Now this is another tool you can use. Mostly we use these for kicks. So when he goes to kick me, he has a good target to use for kicks. A shield is a good investment. And while you're training with it, you have the ability to really fill this shield out and use the shield. And essentially a shield. I recommend a shield, a couple of mitts, some kind of bag or makiwara. That's a Wave Master. You guys have seen my heavy bag. And I recommend getting a bag, a shield, and mitts, because they're going to come in handy. Even these little square things are better than nothing. And at this stage in your training, for the kids watching, get your sibling involved if you've got siblings. You got a cousin down the street, get your cousin training with you. Get someone to hold your gear, get your parent to hold the gear, whatever. Get them to hold training equipment so you can train with resistance. Resistance is very important at this stage in your training. Also, it gives you a training partner. All right, so we are going to look at some self-defense real quick, and we are going to tie into the blocks. Now, one of the things, we've gotten into blocks, and we know they are used to deflect. They're not used to absorb the full brunt of a hit. They're used to deflect the strike. You remember the game from back in the 80s, maybe from the 70s, it's called Asteroids. You know, the little triangle spaceship, and when it would have all these asteroids trying to fly into it. And so a good description of the way a block works in a blocking capacity is when that little spaceship would shoot us a laser, it would take that big amount of force and split it. And it would dissipate that force, either completely destroy the force or just get it to go off course. So that's one way to look at the block, is we want to take that force they're using to throw the technique and either dissipate it by checking, and they lose their power behind the technique, trying to catch their own balance, or checking them to a point to where when they're throwing that punch, and my block didn't stay out there very long, but when they're throwing that punch, what's happening is, just like having this check here, that check diverts, that block is diverting, and then we have the punch. That's probably not what I showed, but close enough. So again, what we have is, I'm checking. This check is going to help you immensely because it's like a pre-game to the block. So I've just taken that big asteroid, like I'm a little triangle ship on asteroids, and I've dissipated part of the energy. So that energy, that force he's doing, that kinetic energy he's using to throw this punch, he's losing that the second this veers off course, if he's throwing more energy into this and forcing through, he is going to lose his balance, or he's going to be catching his balance from almost losing his balance. And that's kind of the broken rhythm I'm looking for to hit him. Now, that's what's happening here is I'm checking, blocking, and then I can come in with, I think I'm doing karate jab, but I'm using Eastern straight punches. So, and I'm not leaving it out there. This is my biggest complaint with Taekwondo and karate people is they'll demonstrate a block and they'll be like, or asa. No, because what happens if I leave it out here? He grabs it, or he hits me. I've got an arm up. It makes no sense. The only time I leave my arm up is say on side block, I'm moving him back to get space so I can draw a weapon. Or say you get in a spot where you are having to fight more than one person, and I've got to make space so I can either try to get out or push this guy into a wall and go into this guy and then try to get them on one side. But that's a lesson for another time. One of the things we're looking at, though, is we'll go ahead and get into a mini lesson while we're here, and that is to check. And checking is awesome. Our blocks are essentially checks. But an open hand slap block, so he's here, open hand slap block, I'm checking, and I'm here. I can use it to throw kotegesh, or I can use it to dissipate force. I can use this effectively. In sparring, that's actually really nice. If he's got a guard up, the other thing I can use this check for is pulling his guard down so I can enter into his shoulder and start pelting him with techniques. So, or if we're facing this way, which brings me to the next thing we're going to be talking about. Like how I taught that down?
Mm-hmm.
So, we're about to get into this technique. But, as I'm here, yes, I just grabbed it and I pull him in a direction. I don't just sit there and hold it. I could push it into him, but when I hit this, I pull it in a direction so I can hit, I don't really want to hang on to it forever. It's just a big no-no, but it's a good illustration.
Come tumbling.
So when I check, I can use it to grab. Another thing I can do is use it to develop self-defense, like turning it into an arm grab. So without slapping myself like some tournament players. So again, the check is really nice. Go up into the groin. Getting into the first part of Uranus form, and on the fourth video of this, you'll have a step 2, a step-by-step, or the whole form will be posted. I've got it posted somewhere else in the American Kick Punch Karate group, but when we bow, we're bowing. This is one of the most useful forms we have in the original system. So I come here, and one of the things that I get into, one of the things that I like to do on this is come here and then get into the open hand side block. However you want to get in there. But we bow, get into our open hand side block to the left, and then we slide, which is actually a step. But we slide, and then we throw a side kick, then we throw another side kick, and then we throw another side kick. So, and when we end on that third side kick, we ki, and then we get back into position. Now, I know on the original paperwork it says to do it to like the head, but if you cannot kick to the head, don't kick to the head. Kick to the hip. If you can't kick to the hip, kick to the knee. If you can't quite kick to the head, but kicking to the hip is ridiculous, kick to the ribs. I can kick to the head. I like kicking the ribs, so generally that's where I kick. So, but the application we're going to look at from this form, all right, so the first part of kata we're going to look at this level is the first part of Neptune. Now I'm saying Neptune. Thanks, Will. Is the first part of Uranus. So Uranus is our third form. It's also one of the handiest forms we have. Now the previous footage you just saw a second ago, you notice I was teaching about checking. Now the last two forms you've done tie into this moment. And we're on those forms, we were collapsing into a crane stance to throw our side kick. So this is going to be a little different. We're going to be slide stepping. So the slide step works by sliding and then kicking. So sliding, kicking. Now, I believe I demonstrated this technique, but in sparring, how this is going to help you is when I recover his arm, however I recover it, if it's coming from a low stance, I grab that sleeve and I twist that arm upside down. I actually like this position a lot. I'm going to slide, or I might step into a crane moving backwards if he's got a lot of force moving in on me. Try both. Get in the ring and try both. Try it with your sparring partner. Or if I caught it from out here and he's trying to get away, this is where the slide step comes in. You know, also you turn the slide step into a really cool scissor leg takedown. But we're not doing that today because I don't have all my mats out. And I think for that we might be tripling the mat thickness because we're both old. So we come here and I might decide to take him with me. Well, I've got an arm bar right now. That's nice. It's very nice. So if I want to hurt him, this is about the range I throw this kick at. If I don't really want to hurt him in sparring, I'm not going to be grabbing the sleeve. I'm just going to worry about grabbing that wrist and pulling him down. And then side kick. What makes here I'm just holding Will's hand. What makes this form so cool is it's got your first real combinations in it. Although you can use all the combinations out of your previous forms, this has got your first real combinations for sparring, and they're offensive. Very offensive. Which we don't really travel backwards at all in this system, but, so I'm going to bow, give my respect sign, and then I'm going to step into a stance. What I'm doing now is I'm grabbing, sliding, and then I'm going to stamp a kick into the ribs. Now, that's where you're going to start. All right. So your form at this level is the Uranus kata, or Uranus form. And it's kicking a lot of Uranus. That's actually a lot of fun. This is, I think, probably the most fun form we've got. So everything you've done up to this point can be used in sparring. Everything. This form is usually aggressive for sparring. So we're going to attach drills throughout this entire chunk of your video training under me. We're going to attach, or at least throughout this belt level, we're going to attach one piece of kata per week and get the whole kata and just work on different concepts to the step. So today we're just going to worry about stamping one kick, although the part of the form calls for 3 kicks, and usually I'll go like low, medium, high. But for this, you're going to stamp about rib level, and so I'm going to bow, respect, get in my fighting stance, and so first thing I'm doing is I'm slide stepping, grabbing and slide stepping. Next thing I'm going to do is stamp a kick and then set it down. So, but on the actual form, it's a machine gun. So you're just going to keep stamping 2 more kicks after that and throwing a key eye on the 3rd one. But what we're doing tonight is we are looking at that first initial bit of contact, because it's going to form the way you look at this form. So I bow my respect and I come here. Now when I come down, say his wrist is there, I'm grabbing his wrist. I'm sliding in and I'm kicking. Now, what would happen in this form, what the form's doing on an application standpoint, I may include footage of the form on the beginning of this, I may not, but you are grabbing, sliding, 1, 2, eyes, and pushing away. So I'm making sure those ribs are broken, then pushing him away, and then I'm going into the next person on the second part. So that is actually the first part of Uranus kata. But it's kind of fun. I like it. He likes it. I know years ago my entire student base enjoyed this form way too much. They never used it in sparring though. I think I had one. She's like this tall. She could nail these kicks like crazy. So bow. I'm here, and I've already done the slide step, so I've already made a mistake. So I'm here, slide step, 1, 2, eyes. You also look at it as I'm grabbing again and breaking the clavicle. So on this form, the bunkai for this section would be and then I'm going to hit 3 kicks. 1, 2, eyes! And whether it be the clavicle or the 3rd intervertebral space, boom, we hit. And that's part 1 of Uranus, which kicks a lot of Uranus. So again, I bow, and slide step, and then just 3 kicks, 1, 2, 3, ki, and then you're going to end up in your chop block. So again, one, 2, eyes, and it could be a chop to the neck. He knows I'm doing an arm drag, chop to the neck, or if their arm is out here and they've got an arm over here like, whoa, stop, I could hit the clavicle and he won't be wiping his own butt for 6 weeks. I think it's less time now, but it's enough to be inconvenient, very inconvenient. I'm Instructor Ford, this is Mr. Will. 4. Nice. 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 Nice.